5 to 9. Jess Kelly, good morning. Yeah, we going straight to you. How are you getting on?
A little bit of music.
Kind of sing there and all.
Yeah.
How are you getting on?
I'm alright, how are you?
Flying it, yeah.
Yeah.
What are we doing? You've got some
One
stuff
time.
here, right?
This is our first time on air and he's already ballsed it up.
I've read the brief. Assisted reality.
Yeah.
PlayStation have brought out a brand new thing. It's lighter than the other thing.
Professional broadcaster. You're no Joe Malloy, I'll tell you that. Here, pop this on.
All right, we're
Beautiful
going for a
assistant.
live there,
Well, it's not gonna play a game because I don't want you to puke on air because I'm not that mean.
I appreciate the sentiment of that. Just stick this on, yeah?
Just stick it on, yeah. So this is the new PlayStation VR 2. This is the new headset that we spoke about with Ger and Shane a few weeks ago. It's been hotly anticipated. The first iteration of it came out a number of years ago, back in 2016. And
that's definitely not going to fit me. Is there a way to like?
Yeah, you turn the dial on the back.
That's what I would have thought, but then you push it in and then do you?
There we go.
This is going so well.
It's like one of the kids' bicycle helmets. There we go.
This were a sponsored segment. It's never happened. Yeah. Look, it's perfect.
Perfect.
Ah, there we go.
What a pro.
Wow. It's just dark.
So it's the new version, and not only have they changed the design, but they've also changed the tech inside. So as you'll see, you look like Wally the robot. The idea is...
I can't see anything.
Yeah. The idea is that it's a lighter headset, so it's not going to be as cumbersome on your neck, but also you'll notice, Adrian, you only have one big cable coming out of the headset, and before, on the previous version, you had multiple cables, and so it just felt like you were being tied to your PS4 as it was back then. Now with the PS5, it's just one cable that plugs in to the system. Then you've got your in-ears that dangle down from the headset. And the beauty of this is the tech that is built into it. So you now have 2 OLED panels, one for each eye. So the quality of the content that you're seeing is incredible. There's motion sensor technology built in. What I really like about this is that there are 4 sort of patches on the frame of the device that allows you to see your surroundings. So when you're putting that headset on, say if you're in your living room, for example, it is important to have a bit of spatial awareness because the games are so good that you kind of get lost in it a little bit.
Yeah.
You kind of forget, okay, well, the coffee table's here and the couch is here, because you could be spun around and all of a sudden lose your bearings entirely.
There's some great stuff on TikTok on all of that if you want to go
well, I was thinking next week I might bring the whole kit and caboodle in and we might
do that.
see how many of your bones we can break.
100% up for that.
Okay, cool. These are the motion...
Sorry, when you say there's panels in terms of allowing the spatial awareness, what do you mean?
So on the side, so when you put the headset on, the first thing you see are lenses that are essentially like glasses, and that allows you to see the content. But then almost on the edges of the frames of my glasses, for example, there will be little patches that appear black and white. So I could see, say, my laptop, and I could see this box in black and white to be aware that there are things around me.
That's very useful.
Now, saying that, I was playing, there's a great game called Kayak VR Mirage. I was kayaking around the world in Leopardstown, and didn't I break a glass? Because you get so lost in it and you lose track of yourself a little bit.
You definitely want to be sober doing this. I know we've had a lot of booze references in the show, but you definitely want to be sober. There's a lot going on here.
You would want to, yeah. And the other thing is, so these are the controllers that you have in your hands, and they've changed the design of it. It's so much better. It's very ergonomic, so it just feels natural. You can press all your buttons, and it gives you similar dexterity in a game to what you would have in real life. I still found, though, after playing for around 40 minutes, it made me a bit nauseous. In the previous iteration, it was around 15 minutes or so, and then you wanted to get sick. I got around to, like, 40 minutes or so is a long time in a game anyway, but I don't know necessarily that it is for the long-term wearer.
Is there nearly like a workout aspect to it as well?
100%. You like, and this isn't. And the reason I want to do the demo with the full set with you next week is because you do look like a fool, and it's very
don't
difficult.
need any help in that regard.
No, you don't. I said that to the lads outside a second ago. But you do look bananas, because you are, you know, when you're playing games, if you've got a bow and arrow, you're moving your hands as if you've got a bow and arrow, or if you're boxing, you're moving as if you're boxing someone, and it's very immersive. It's definitely a workout. And the other thing that this headset has is, you know, the haptic feedback that you might get on your phone when your phone buzzes or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
They have that in the headset. So there's one of the games where you're walking through a forest, and if a branch moves, it feels like you kind of jump back because you feel like you're going to get whacked in the face. I could not get over the reality, and that's the point, it's the virtual reality, but the quality of the games have gone up a notch, and there's also more experiences because the first time it came out, I was saying to Jer and Shane, you know, I played a Batman game or a Spider-Man game, and you were in these sort of cartoony worlds, particularly the kayak game. It sounds and it feels and it looks so real. And there's really clever technology built into not only the games but the headset as well, so that no matter where I look, what I look at is in focus, but all this other stuff is in the peripheral vision. And the sounds, you can hear stuff from a distance coming behind you, or you can hear stuff approaching from the left. It's by far the most immersive virtual experience I've ever encountered. And the good news is that there are hundreds of games in development for this, because that was part of the problem last time, was that there were a few big titles that you'd pay 80 quid for. And after that, then you were like, well, what am I spending the money on this headset for? But talking of money, it's expensive.
Let's go to the chase here. What sort of bunts are we talking? This is the one thing I'm thinking. I'm going to put, I have a figure in my head that's going to be well wrong.
Go on,
what are you thinking?
It's about 1,200.
No, it is $599.99.
That is dirt cheap.
It
Surely.
is incredibly affordable. Some of the other VR headsets that are out there, like Meta unveiled their latest one last year, and it's €1,700. So that's big money. This is an accessory for your PlayStation 5, and it's important to note that it only works with the PlayStation 5.
That's what I was going to ask. So this on its own is no good to you?
That on its own is no good to you.
So how much is the PlayStation 5?
It's another 600 quid.
So I was right, 1,200.
1,200.
So, yeah, sorry, I was kind of,
Yeah.
I'm only getting, yeah.
And that's before you buy a game for it as well.
Okay.
So, and these titles will be pretty expensive. If you have some of the titles that are going to have updates for VR mode, some of them will do the VR update for free. Others, there may be an extra charge to get that VR experience. So it's going to be like an expensive enough endeavour.
I have two questions.
Go.
Presumably at some point you won't need the physical PlayStation. This will be enough.
Potentially. So this is what some have already tried to do, like the Netflix of gaming, where you can just open a game on your telly and then you're good to go. The issue is that the processing power for particularly the games that are so vivid, you do need to have essentially like a computer type processor.
They're trying to make these as light as they can, so actually they'll be slightly...
It's a seesaw.
Give us an on handle of it there.
And the other one is the space thing is a real issue. I played about 3 years ago, possibly. I played would have been one of the first iterations of it. I played the boxing thing, and I was at home, and you can imagine what happened.
Yeah.
I punched the wall, and it was incredibly sore. I'm pretty sure I did a bit of damage to my hand.
Yeah.
And that is a lot of people's experience. So what is the solution to the space thing?
Yeah, it is. It's a tough one. They do say, and there are plenty of, I suppose, safety reminders when you are playing these types of games. You'd want to have at least a 2x2 space. The safest way I found is to be sitting in a chair. So we have like an office chair similar to what you're in. And so you can sit there, you can move around, but you're not taking up the entire living room or whatever it is. That is a point of contention. As I said, I broke a glass while virtually kayaking. So you do want to make sure that there's nothing in your direct sort of line of reach. But that's why the space that's on the headset is so important, to give you that field of vision, or that sort of awareness, sense of awareness as to what's around you. You know, I can see these being incredibly popular, but I do think you need to take the safety side of things a little bit seriously.
Do we have any football games?
Not as of yet that I'm aware of. Now, there are plenty of fitness type games that, you know, involve you, like the kayaking one, but a lot of them are the big titles. So there's the Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge, there's the VR Mirage, Moss and Moss, there's Resident Evil Village. There's a whole ton of titles, and what they're trying to do is get the big hitters that are enticing people to buy the PS5, for example, and then adding the VR element. But I'd say it won't be long before we have more of the sporting titles coming down the track.
Well, you need the paddles for your legs for the football.
Potentially, yeah.
And is there an age limit on who can use this?
Well, no. So I think the terms and conditions would probably say that adult supervision is very important.
Even for adults?
Even for adults. I'm not joking you. Between the potential fear of damaging yourself by punching the wall, but
this should actually be the inverse, Jess. Your kids should actually supervise this, because they know better than you. It's like, Daddy, you're making a show of yourself here.
That probably Adrian's kids probably say that every
day.
Yeah,
they do that.
Yeah. But the key thing for me is the nausea and getting used to having things jumping out at you and sounds and all the rest, because it's very disconcerting. There's also a deadly thing on this that has eye tracking. So when you're setting up, I don't know if either of you use iPhone, but when you're setting up Face ID on iPhone, you have to move your head in a circle. The eye tracking on this, you move your eyes and it can track where your eyes are looking.
Right. That's nuts.
So, for example, when something pops up, if text pops up on the screen, rather than you having to move your hand and click the button, you just look down to the left and then you click the button, so it can track exactly where you're looking to ensure that you are seeing and are engaging with the right thing as if you were in real life. So I've had this for about a week. It's not out until next week. I have been obsessed, and I think it's although it's more affordable than you might think, it's still a big investment. The games are going to be expensive, but I know that there are gamers who already have it pre-ordered and will be dying to get their hands on it.
How many days of the week have you played it?
Well, you see, because of the puke factor, I probably haven't used it as much as some people might think I have. Like, I've done it, I've every day since we've had it, I've gone on for a few minutes and played different games just to try and get a sense of it. But as I said, around 40 minutes, I'm
puke threshold.
That is my puke threshold.
Next Friday, what game are you suggesting for me?
I kind of want to see you doing the kayak.
I'd do that, yeah.
And I probably want to get you in sort of a combat situation.
A combat situation, as in somebody kicking the crap out of me? Like.
Yeah, or even one of those bow and arrow games, and just maybe have you wet yourself live on air when an arrow comes out of nowhere.
All possible.
Thinking about the League of Ireland.
Jess, that was it was a slot, and I enjoyed it. Have you any more information about the people should go? And it's out. Did you say it's out next week?
It's out next on the 22nd. If you want a proper review, if you want an in-depth, knowledgeable review with none of this malarkey, you can find Tech Talk on the Newstalk app powered by Go Loud, or tune into Newstalk tomorrow at 5 p.m, where there will be an in-depth review minus Adrian Barry, which is always a good scenario.
There's more adults in the room. Jess, pleasure as always. Thanks a million. Look forward to next week.